Jesus wants us to be watching. And so what we know is this. In June of 1967, during the Six-Day War, the nation of Israel, for the first time in thousands of years, regained the city of Jerusalem as theirs. And according to Joel, in the days and the times, in those days and at that time, when the fortunes of Judah and Jerusalem are restored, then he said, I will gather all the nations together into judgment. Jesus talks about this in Luke 21, where verse 25, he said this, there will be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and on the earth dismay among nations and perplexity at the roaring of the sea and the waves, men fainting from fear and the expectation of the things that are coming on the world. For the powers of the heavens will be shaken, and then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. But when these things, listen to what Jesus said, begin to take place, straighten up. Lift up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near. When do these things begin to take place? Are you ready? They began in June of 1967, when Jerusalem was brought back to the hands of the Jews. And now Jesus said, I don't want you to be ignorant about the time you live in. I don't want you to ignore the things that are happening. I want you to be more ready and more aware than you ever have been before. By the way, I'm kind of interested in this. How many of you guys were born after 1967? You were born in 1967? Whoa, okay. Do you know what that means? I'm the old guy. You're not far behind. You guys are the terminal generation. You guys are the last generation. That's what the Bible says. Isn't that wild? If you were born after 67 or in 67, the countdown's coming. It's going to happen. And Jesus said it begins when Jerusalem's back in the hands of the Jews. And so anybody born after 1967 would be those who Jesus says is the last generation, the last one that God called for. And then I got a question to ask you, by the way, ask all of us. Why is it that God would have you be born now? See, I don't want you to miss this. It probably isn't resonating yet. God is sovereign. God knows everything. And God called for a group of people to be his people in the last days, in the last times, in the last generation. So it was on purpose that God caused you to be born in this day and in this time. Why would God in his sovereignty call for you to be alive for this moment? And I want to tell you, he's got a purpose for you. He's got a destiny for you. He's got something he wants you to accomplish. He's got a cause he wants you to be a part of. And right now the question is, are you living for that? Are you doing that? See, I want to tell you, if I could choose to be alive at any time, I'd choose now in these last days, especially with what we've seen and what's coming.